that is the energy that I have not had in a minute. But what's good, guys? So I don't know what we're talking about yet, but I figured I would get on the video and then I would figure it out as we started talking. Though I shaved my upper lip for the first time. Probably TMI, but like now my face is all the same color. And I like it. And I never wear lipstick, but I don't know, I'm feeling it today. Okay, so I figured out what we're gonna talk about as I was talking right there. So, we're gonna talk about not manipulating your locks too much and how manipulating your locks too often is really bad for them. And I feel like now is not the time for me to be talking about it because mine is manipulated right now. Hold on. So I'm back. So there's a lot of people who have locks and they're constantly manipulating it and pulling it and tugging it. And not even just like this, but like people who wear wigs over their locks and they put box braids on top of it, or it's always pulled and like braided or twisted and things like that. And their locks over time, they start to get thin. Like, so this whole lock is thin, right? So that's not a good one. They're all kind of small now, but they're healthy. I just have like over 200. Okay, so like whatever. So like they'll be thick and then like in this part here will be very thin, like it's gonna fall off. Or the locks are just kind of dead and dull. And the reason why I'm talking about leaving your locks alone and not manipulating them so much is because locks are a low maintenance style. They're not a style that's meant to be high maintenance. They're the type of thing that is just, you kind of leave it alone, you let it do its thing. And when you're manipulating it all the time, because it's like a foundation, this one lock is like a foundation, you're pulling at it and you're causing thinning. Like follicles are breaking as you're styling it, which is just not good for the lock. And then for the box braids, which I read are pretty much like the worst thing to do with locks, especially starter locks. So with the starter locks, when you put the box braids on top of it, it causes them to bend and stuff, and so they can't form their own way that they're supposed to form because they're being tightened by the braids, if y'all get what I'm trying to say. And so they end up being weak off rip. I'm talking weird, not off rip, but like they end up starting off on a bad foundation. And then as for the on regular locks doing the box braids, the problem with that is they're tight in there and it's pulling on them, and then they can't get the nutrients they need. They're not able to freely move around, and the point of locks is for them to kind of be free and all of that, as weird as that sounds. But y'all get what I'm trying to say. And then for like things like pulling it back all the time, it's not so much bad for the hair, but it's kind of bad for the edges. Because it's tugging out, like even when I just did that for a second, I could feel it pulling here. And that's a major key of having thick edges and like not being bald here. It's not pulling on it so much. That can cause the breaking, and it can cause like little bald spots because they can come, these are shorter, they can come like right out of the follicle. I don't even know if I'm gonna upload this because I sound crazy right now. But what else should I list? Okay, so the styling it too much. Oh, the washing it too much. All right, so y'all know I swear by not washing your locks too much. Definitely not once a month, in my opinion. Everybody's locks are different, but like personally, I don't recommend washing them that much because they're not able to build up their own oils. Like the scalp releases its own oils and sebum, I think that's what it's called. And if you're washing it out all the time, it doesn't get the chance to do that. It doesn't get the chance to do that. And then the shampoo can be drying your hair out. Y'all know when you wash your hair with shampoo before you put the conditioner in, it feels dry and brittle, and that's not good. You can try to put it back in with the conditioner, but it's just not the same. So you kind of want to give it a chance to build up its own oil and then wash it. And then the only thing that's really dirty is your scalp. So you don't want to be putting all that stuff all the way down the hair. That's just one of my tips. Y'all, I gotta go get the pot pie out of the oven. I'll be right back. So the next thing is definitely the dye, which is kind of an obvious one, and I talk about it all the time, but like the bleaching it, it's not so much as bad with, did my nail just, oh, I thought my nail ripped. But anyway, it's not so much as bad with the semi-permanent dye because you're kind of just throwing like a tint on top of your already hair, like your natural hair, you're throwing a tint on top. But the problem is when you have to bleach it, because when you bleach it, it goes in and it damages each strand. And then with locks, it's hard to fully wash it out, so it kind of continues to work into your hair for a little bit longer, which is extremely problematic. And like, I've dyed my hair, I've bleached my hair twice, and I haven't really had problems with it because I like, after I do something like that, I go ham with the maintaining it and moisturizing it to make sure that it's okay. And I never bleach the whole head. I know that sounds goofy, but like, if my hair's gonna get damaged, I would rather only a few locks be damaged than the whole head be damaged. That's just my logic behind it. Alright, and then I said, so this is probably gonna be called Leave Your Locks Alone. The next thing is the hair jewelry. Y'all know I used to wear the hair jewelry. I just recently took it out. I'll probably put it back in at some point. But I noticed like the ones that it was in, I'm not gonna be able to find it. But the ones that had lock jewelry in them, they the lock jewelry has to put a hole through the lock. And so as the lock grows out, it has a hole in it, so it'll get thinner. And the foundation won't be as strong anymore because it's been breached, quote unquote. So I would definitely say not to mess with the lock jewelry anyway. The one that requires holes. And then the cuffs, the silver cuffs that you put on here are on braids. The problem with those is they'll snag onto other locks and like it'll break and it'll pull. And that's kind of problematic too. So the only one that I would say is good is like the string. Sometimes I use like silver string, you can see on my Instagram, and I'll like go down the lock with the string, and I don't really see a problem with that unless it's too tight, because then if it's too tight, it can cause it to like be thinner in certain areas. And then kind of with the braiding as well, when you braid the locks up, they get thinner because it's tight. And I didn't even know that one until one of y'all commented that on my channel, and I was like, oh, that actually makes sense, because it's tight and it's on a fresh retwist, it can cause them to become smaller, which kind of messes up the foundation. But yeah, like, those are my few tips, like leaving your locks alone, or whatever this video is going to be called. Those are my few tips that I think are like serious, like that everybody with locks needs to know. So yeah, like, comment, and subscribe, leave video requests. This was not my best video, but I felt like I should talk about it. Okay, bye guys.